Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you a little bit of my Japanese garden that I've created out in my backyard. Now, when you're creating a garden, it's really important that you firstly draw up a plan. So I am very big on designing your garden first. So it's important that you put your plan on paper and you start to create from the ground up. Now you want to sort of lay out your design. So you want to know where your ornaments are going to go. You want to have it, is the landscape going to be undulating up and down? Are you going to have a flat surface? These are the things to kind of take into consideration when you're going to design, example, my Japanese garden here. So I started firstly finding pictures on Pintrest. I went on and I found pictures of bridges and some designs that I really loved, and then I talked to my builder and we went about starting to make the wooden bridge here that you can see, which is made of merbau timber. It's a very resilient wood, and I only have to oil that with Jarrah probably once a year, and that just keeps it really nice. Now we've actually done this bridge, as you can see here, to the dimensions of the actual garden, so it's all in proportion. And that's another thing when you're doing any sort of garden, that you really start to look at the proportions and get your measurements right, otherwise it just won't look balanced. Now I'm just going to take you for a little walk around here. Now I actually use a lot of Japanese box in my garden, and I use mondo grass a lot as well, because they're very slow growing and you don't need to do a lot of trimming, and they tend to maintain their shape a lot more. I find that with the box hedge, they're just evergreen as well, and that's something I really love, is to keep things looking evergreen. I use a lot of rocks when I'm doing a Japanese garden because they create a real landscape kind of feature, and I use different ones and I bury them into the ground, and here I put a little bit of mondo grass to just give it a very natural kind of effect. Now I live in a very cold climate in the mountains, so I've created a dry creek bed here. You can see I've used smaller rocks and then I've used larger rocks, and I've sort of lowered it down under the bridge just to create a bit of a dry creek effect, because that was kind of the look I was going for. Now I have put stepping stones through my garden because I wanted it to be a garden that we could sort of walk through, that the dog could, he's over there, that we could actually use. So I've managed to find these local black rock. They've got a really dark sort of edge on them, and they're just a very unusual kind of shape, so they create a sort of an abstract effect as well. You don't want everything to be too uniform because you want it to look quite natural so it all sort of blends together. Now I've actually picked the Japanese maple here, and it's winter here, so it's currently lost its leaves, but come spring that will shoot again, and they don't get too big. They usually stay around that height, which is perfect for the proportions. And I've put a succulent at the base, and again I use rocks in different ways. You can see this one's fairly flat, and you can have them upright, flat. You can do whatever you want. You can be as creative as you like. Like I said before, the bridge is actually in proportion to the garden, so it's probably about hip height. It's not a full-size bridge, but you can still walk over it, and it's still very practical. Now as you walk around the creek bed, I've picked a lot of plants that have that Japanese kind of style. I've gone for the grasses that I really love, again the box hedges. I put a few flowering things in and some succulents as well, and again I've put more mondo grass just to give that little touch of green. Now I have used a very dark paint on my backdrop because I love the look of this sort of charcoal blue. It just really seems to make the green pop, so that's why I like the dark colors. Now just coming over here, I've also created I guess you could call it a Japanese, it's sort of a sculpture, I guess you could call it, and that goes really well with the merbau of the bridge. Now I just like it simple. I could put pots and things on there if I chose to, but I actually like the simplicity of it, so I've decided to just leave it because I think it just goes really well with that kind of Japanese style of gardening. Now I always think it's important to include a lantern when you're doing a Japanese garden, it seems to just really give that feel of the Japanese ornaments are really important. I've also gone for some different coloured rock up this end. I've gone for a white rock, meandering a little bit through some lamb's ear plants, which are really resilient, just to give you that nice low foliage. And again, the Japanese box, again there's rocks in the landscape, and I've chosen the Japanese blossom. It's a really pretty plant. It goes green over summer, but at the moment we're losing the leaves, so it's actually autumn here, and it's doing really, really well. So they won't get too big. That's a grafted plant, so it won't get too tall at all. It'll just blend in really well. And again, you can see the pavers, they're all different shapes, and that gives that really good effect as you're coming through the garden. So it's a garden that's quite interactive, that you can walk through. And I've also found a little local statue at my local nursery as well, which I love. He makes me smile. That's an important thing as well when you are doing a garden, that you make sure you get things that are going to make you feel happy inside and that bring you to life and give you that little happy place to kind of enjoy. So look, I just thought I'd share a little bit of how to do a Japanese garden. These are just some tips that might help you when you're going to plant a garden. And please subscribe to my channel if you'd like. I've got many other videos on there on decor, self-help videos, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.